If you have a 401k, you own shares in hundreds of American companies, but you don't vote those shares. 3 companies vote them for you: BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. Together, they manage over $22 trillion, roughly the size of the United States economy. And in 2025, they voted in favor of corporate management 98.7% of the time. This is the story of who actually controls American corporations, and why the people whose money is invested have almost no say. Here's how it works. When you invest in a 401k, your money goes into mutual funds or ETFs. Most of those funds are passive. They automatically buy shares in hundreds of companies based on an index, like the S&P 500. You don't pick the individual stocks. The fund does it for you. But every share comes with a vote. At every public company in America, shareholders vote on board members, executive pay packages, mergers, environmental policies, and major business decisions. These are called proxy votes. They happen every year at every company's annual meeting. When you own shares directly, you cast your own vote. When you own shares through a mutual fund, the fund manager casts the vote for you. That fund manager is BlackRock, Vanguard, or State Street 90% of the time. These 3 companies are called the Big Three. And they don't just manage retirement money. They cast roughly 25% of the votes at every company in the S&P 500. One of these 3 is the largest shareholder in nearly 9 out of every 10 companies in the S&P 500. Each of the Big Three has a small team called an investment stewardship group. These teams decide how to vote the shares of millions of investors. BlackRock's team is now called BlackRock Investment Stewardship. State Street's team is called the Asset Stewardship Team. Vanguard is splitting its team in 2026 into Vanguard Capital Management and Vanguard Portfolio Management. These small teams cast votes representing trillions of dollars of other people's money. Their voting record is public. In 2025, the Big Three backed corporate management 98.7% of the time. That's up from 96% in 2023. Every executive compensation package, every board appointment, every major corporate decision, the asset managers vote with management almost every time. If management proposes a $50 million pay package for a CEO, the Big Three will likely vote yes, using your retirement shares to do it. In recent years, the Big Three have rolled out programs that let some investors vote their own shares. They call these programs Voting Choice. BlackRock launched its program in January 2022. State Street and Vanguard followed. By December 2025, BlackRock had made $3.76 trillion in assets eligible for voting choice, nearly half of its index equity holdings. But here's the catch. Out of that $3.76 trillion in eligible assets, only $885 billion is actually being voted by clients themselves. The other 75% still voted by BlackRock's stewardship team because clients have to actively opt in. If they don't, BlackRock votes the shares. State Street says 81% of its assets are now eligible. Vanguard added an anti-ESG voting option for the 2025 proxy season, but the structural reality is unchanged. The Big Three still vote roughly 75% of all the shares they manage, through default, through inertia, through complexity. Most retirement savers have never heard of proxy voting. They never receive a ballot. They never know there's a choice. If this is the kind of pattern you want to see exposed every Thursday, hit subscribe. In late 2025 and early 2026, the system started shifting. In November 2024, 11 state attorneys general sued BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. The lawsuit alleged the firms used their voting power to push coal companies toward green energy goals, driving up electricity prices for American consumers. In February 2026, Vanguard settled. The firm agreed to pay $29.5 million and to expand voting choice to investors in funds covering at least 50% of its U.S. equity assets. BlackRock and State Street did not settle. Then in December 2025, an executive order was signed targeting 2 firms that advise institutional investors on how to vote: Institutional Shareholder Services and Glass Lewis. Together, these two control over 90% of the proxy advisory market. The order directed 3 federal agencies to review the firm's practices. But the order did not directly address the big 3. A separate order has reportedly been considered, one that would force index fund managers to mirror their votes, voting unmarked shares in proportion to how clients who actually vote choose to vote. That order has not been signed. The structural concentration of voting power in 3 companies remains unchanged. Here's what most people don't realize. The big 3 don't own the trillions of dollars they vote. The shares belong to retirement savers, pension funds, individual investors, teachers, firefighters, office workers with 401ks. Approximately 60 million people globally have retirement assets that are eligible for BlackRock Voting Choice. Most of them don't know it exists. The shares belong to ordinary people. The vote does not. When BlackRock's stewardship team votes for a CEO compensation package, they are voting your shares. When State Street's team approves a board member at a major bank, they are using your retirement money to do it. You delegated that vote when you opened a 401k. Most plans don't tell you that. Most fund prospectuses bury it on page 60. The argument from the big 3 is straightforward. They have professional teams. The teams analyze every proposal. They vote in the long-term financial interest of their clients. That argument has merit. Most retirement savers don't have time to read thousands of proxy statements every year. But the consequence is real. 3 companies, staffed by small teams in 3 offices, cast roughly a quarter of the votes at every major American corporation. Their decisions shape executive pay, board composition, climate policy, merger approvals, the entire structure of American corporate governance, and the people whose money is at stake, the retirement savers, the pension holders, the ordinary investors. Almost none of them know it's happening. Voting choice programs are growing. Lawsuits are forcing changes. Executive orders are being drafted. But for now, the structural reality is unchanged. You own the shares. They cast the vote. 3 companies, $22 trillion, 98.7% of management votes supported. The shares are yours, the votes are not. The Dark Vault opens every Thursday. Subscribe, because the next story is already being built without you knowing.